Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. Hope you had a great weekend overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We're going to be speaking about Eddie Hearn exposing weird Vergil Ortiz demands, I guess you would say. And we're going to be speaking about his title shot possibly being delayed for another 2 years. And then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. But before we get into all of that, if y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,600 mark. We're going to crack that 3,700 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? What's up? What's up? Shout out to the couple comments that's already in the building. Shout out to my boy, Zah. What's going on, Zah? What's going on? Sean Terrence, what up? I'm going to let a few of y'all get in here. I could already tell that the notifications did not get sent out. My boy Jay, what up? He said, what up, Mark, in the chat. What's going on, brother? How we feeling? How we feeling? What's on the people's minds, man? Chris Maldonado, what up? That's the high school brother right there, man. How you feeling? I see you was out and about. Chris, you ain't sent nobody no invites, man. That's crazy, man. Y'all had the karaoke night. You had, you was down Fishtown and all of that. That's only about 5 minutes from the crib. And he ain't sent a single invite. That's crazy. Yasir Ali, what up? He said that I see that Vergil interview. This nigga be capping. We speaking about the one that he did with Chris Mannix. If that's the one you're referring to, then I did watch it. I don't think it was. I didn't really see anything that made me think that Vergil was capping. But what it just let me know is how hands off he is with the business, like he said previously, and how much they're ruining his opportunities. It's an example, in my opinion, of when you are a talented fighter, you are a world level fighter, but you just don't have the people around you don't really have your best interests. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. So when I hear guys like Sam Salukowicz come out and say things like, Rick Meridian, is making some terrible moves on Vergil, Ortiz's behalf, I can't help but think that may possibly be true, and it's more than just Rick Meridian, to be honest with you. I think Oscar De La Hoya has a hand in this as well. Oscar, for being such a courageous fighter that he was known to be, somebody who was a real risk taker, somebody who didn't shy away from fighting any of the best competition. He is very hesitant to put his fighters in with elite level guys. He's very cautious, very calculated, as a promoter should be, because their money is on the line at the end of the day. But it gets to a certain point where it's like, all right, man, like I got to see what I got on my hands. Do I have a real one or do I have a dud? Because if I have a dud, I don't know if I'm going to continue investing 6-7 figures into this kid's career. And if he's actually the real deal, then this is somebody that I need to put more into, because this dude could make me millions. You know what I'm saying? But, Oscar definitely plays a role. Rick Meridian definitely plays a role. And this is why Vergil Ortiz is in the situation that he's in. You know what I'm saying? Just my opinion. Oh, it was a birthday party. Salute, man. After party was in Fishtown. Yeah, Fishtown popping, man. I mean, I work down there, so I got a good idea of what be going on over there and stuff like that. Real lively, man. Fishtown done changed in the last few years. Now it's like Fishtown was like a neighborhood that Philadelphians lived in. Now it's like it's so gentrified now that a lot of the people that live in Fishtown not even from Philly. You know what I'm saying? They coming over from New York, coming over from Cali, Hawaii, which is crazy to me. Arizona, Ohio, from all around the country, to be honest with you. So it's just crazy to see what Fishtown has become and what is becoming. Like it's crazy to me. Let me see. My boy Agent 86, what up? What's going on? They said, damn, Vergil won't be world champion until he's 30 years old. And that's a if. That's not even definitive. And I hope this isn't the case, to be honest with you. I'm not going to be on here and just be shitting on Vergil like, ha, you're not getting a shot, nigga. Like, it ain't none of that. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not going to shit on that man and his career, because in all honesty, I think that Vergil actually wants to fight these guys. And I think there were times I did think he acted a little funny with Boots, me personally, but overall, I do think that he did want to fight the best competition and fight for world titles and actually have a legit world title around his waist. But like I said, when you are so hands off with the business, and this whole lawsuit situation should have been a wake up call for Vergil, to be honest. This should have just been like a situation where I was like, all right, man, like you fucking up my manager, you fucking up my promoter. So now I'm gonna have to, because y'all bumping heads and y'all done caused the whole scene. I got my business all out here in the open, paperwork. People got access to our paperwork and all types of shit. We can't get along. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and take over the reins on my career. That would have just, and I would have been hands on with the business, point blank, period. Because one thing about me, I need to know everything that's going on, especially if I'm this world level fighter like Vergil Ortiz is. I need to see the budgets. I need to see what money's available. Then I'm from there, I'll be able to get a good idea of how much I should be asking for, and I'll be at the negotiation table, playing hardball, because these promoters, their job is to pay you the least amount of money possible, and it's our job to get as much money from the promoters as possible. That's just how the business go, right? So that's what I would personally do, because at the end of the day, man, you don't know how much longer you got left in your career. Another wake up call should have been Vergil Ortiz's health issues, to be honest with you. When they were talking about him possibly retiring because they couldn't really figure out what his health issues were stemming from, that would have been a wake up call for me. Like, yo, man, my health issues could, you know, flare up at any moment and could really close the curtains on my career. So while I'm here, let me get as much out of this as possible. But Vergil, man, he just wants nothing to do with the business and just wants to box. So he's just so okay with allowing people to take over like his destiny. You know what I mean? Controlling his every move. And I just don't understand how you could do that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a boxer and you just want to focus on boxing, okay, that's cool. But at the same time, man, once you get to a certain level, you gotta learn the game, man. You just can't hire people and just expect them. That's like hiring an accountant and just, not looking over your accounts and just, and your money and just believing that they got your best intentions. That's not what it is, man. That's not what it is. These accountants be stealing from their clients because the client's so hands off with their money. You need to check, man. You need to look over the bank statements. You need to look over your transaction history. You need to see if what's coming in, what's coming out. You got to be on point with your funds, man. I just don't. I just can't see what Vergil is doing in this situation, and I think him being hands off with the business has been very detrimental to his career. I'm not gonna lie to you. A-Team Gaming, what up? Is IBF working with Zuffa, because the Zuffa Ireland card main event was for the IBF title? I mean, I think that I think they came out a bit aggressive initially and said they weren't acknowledging sanctioning bodies and stuff like that. But I think that they noticed that you can't just shun niggas out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to see these niggas. They too influential. Y'all the new kids on the block. Y'all think y'all just gonna get rid of the OGs. It's not that simple. You know what I mean? They got respect, they got credibility out here, and they have hella influence over this generation of fighters. And there's no way you're gonna be pushing this little bum ass Zuffa belt and think that because somebody signs with you that Zuffa belt just takes over, they interest over the IBF, WBO, WBA, WBC. That's not the case. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I think they had no other choice but to acknowledge these sanctioning bodies. The WBC going to be in the building for Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia. Mauricio going to be in that building holding up that motherfucking WBC belt. Oscar De La Hoya going to be in the building while Dana White is in the building. You know what I'm saying? And Dana White, absolutely hates Oscar De La Hoya. Got a lot to say about Oscar De La Hoya, but, the reality is you got to do business with these dudes in order to thrive. This ain't the UFC where you just put everybody in one stable and just say, fuck the world. No, you got to work with the world over here. You can't take over this game. It's too many hats. It's too many powerful people in the game. It's too much money in the game. And these promoters is, OGs, man. They always going to find a way to, sign top talent, develop top talent, to the point where if you're going to make these biggest, best fights happen in boxing, in the UFC, you can keep it, you got all the best fighters there. You feel what I'm saying? But in boxing, you're going to eventually have to reach out to somebody in order to make a fight happen. So that's just what it is at the end of the day. He said the white people used to chase my pop and uncles out back in the day. Oh yeah, I heard it. Yeah, Fishtown was very racist when our parents was young bulls. My step pop said a white boy cracked a bottle over his head out in Fishtown when he was a young bull. So them niggas was just tweaking over there. And I would say what happened with my father out there in Fishtown, but it would be very incriminating. So I'm not gonna do that. But I'll tell y'all in the group chat. My pot wasn't going. I'm gonna just say that. My boy R. Ellis in the building. What's going on, brother? How you feeling? I don't know if it's Relis or R. Ellis, but regardless, the brother says Vergil's team is being too careful picking opponents and making dumb demands that spoil and stall negotiations. I agree with you 1,000%. Pops allegedly did something. No, he definitely did something. That's why I don't want to put that out there in the open because what he did is not good. R. Ellis, salute, brother. I agree with your statement. Yeah, Naja, we gonna get into it. I'm just reading a few people comments because, man, just when I thought like this shit right here just further confirms to me that maybe Vergil wanted to fight, but his team definitely didn't. We gonna bring this up. Let me actually share the screen because I ain't gonna lie, I never heard this. And if this was being said publicly, this is the first time it came across, my desk. So let's listen to a small clip from this Eddie Hearn interview. Shout out to Pound for posting the video because if he didn't post it, I probably would have never have seen it. Eddie Hearn does a lot of interviews, so it'd be really hard to keep up with, to be honest with you. He got one on IFL, then he got one on Fight Hub, then he got one on Fight Hype, and you know what I mean? He be doing long interviews, like, so it'd be hard to catch everything, but I'm glad this was brought to me, or at least sent over to me, because this shit right here is absolutely insane. So for those of y'all who didn't see this interview, I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip. Marlon, what's going on? Bethanio, what up? A-Team Gaming NZ, what up? Nasia, what's going on? Let's play the clip.
We accepted that fight and signed for that fight. Boots had to take less money than Vergil Ortiz because they wouldn't take it unless he did. Boots had to be the B side. They said it has to be Ortiz against Boots. I said, why? No one's got a world championship. No, we're not taking the fight unless it is. Okay. They even asked him to cut his beard and not wear colourful gloves. All of the things that he agreed to do to have the opportunity to prove he was the best. We accepted that.
Now, yo, when I heard this shit absolutely blew my mind because I don't know if y'all know or not, but I've been in the boxing game for a little while. You know what I mean? The professionals and the pros. Dealt with a lot of professionals, dealt with a lot of amateurs. And I understand that, certain commissions have different rules and they have certain ways that they go about things. And I've heard about the beard trimming shit for a long time. We have fighters with long beards that the commission will ask to cut and stuff like that. And, some of them, some of them are laid back with the situations, others not so much. A lot of them are a little bit more strict with the beard cutting thing. So when I heard Vergil and them wanted to cut Boots' beard, it wasn't really a shock to me. It wasn't a shock to me that they was playing hardball in negotiations. Oh, we have to be the A side. Oh, it has to be Vergil versus Boots. And to me, it's obviously that's the manager and the promoter just trying to get all of the advantages for their fighter, or just get the most out of the situation with their fighter. But it can also be perceived as somebody who is purposely making things difficult so the opposite side could walk away. You know what I mean? Could be them just trying to get as much advantages as possible. It could also be them, purposely being hard to deal with in negotiations. So Eddie Hearn and Boots and them could say, fuck this, and walk away. And they could be like, oh, well, they ducked us. Oh, we offered them a fight. They ducked us. You know what I'm saying? And they could spin this whole narrative or whatever. But I even heard about motherfuckers requesting smaller or bigger rings. I've even heard situations where, fighters will be like, oh, you're not going to wear, Cleto Reyes gloves. You're going to wear Grant gloves. You're not going to wear Grant gloves. You're going to wear, Everlast gloves. You're not going to wear Everlast gloves. You're going to wear winning gloves. Like, I've heard shit like that in the past. You know what I'm saying? My boy Derek, my boy the maestro in the building. He said, "What up, mob? They're gonna be checking what type of drawers niggas wearing next." No briefs, just tidy white. You wearing ethicals, nigga? I said you gotta wear Calvin Klein. Like they go on some shit where it's like, nigga, yo, that's fucking. Hey yo, that's the truth. Yo, that nigga Booze, yo, look, yo, Booze, don't be wearing no baggy drawers when we fight, nigga. As a matter of fact, if you wearing them baggy drawers, we ain't fighting, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Make sure they Nike socks, nigga. They gotta have the swoosh on them. Dry fit, nigga. Like, goddamn. But Derek threw me off. He throwing me off my motherfucking square, man. But no, but like I've heard, like I've seen niggas play hardball. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Like I've seen niggas be tough in negotiations to try to get everything that they could get. I get it. But colorful gloves, my nigga. Let's play this video one more time, yo.
We accepted that fight and signed for that fight. Boots had to take less money than Vergil Ortiz because they wouldn't take it unless he did. Boots had to be the B side. They said it has to be Ortiz against Boots. I said, why? No one's got a world championship. No, we're not taking the fight unless it is. Okay. They even asked him to cut his beard and not wear colourful gloves. All of the things that he agreed to do to have the opportunity to prove he was the best.
Bro, I'm sorry. That's absolutely insane to me. I can never understand that shit. Like, it's either y'all niggas is trying to just fuck with Boots mentally, y'all just playing some type of psychological warfare, or y'all niggas just do not want to fight. I've never, like, can somebody explain this to me as somebody who's experienced in the sport of boxing? Can somebody explain to me how the fuck does having colorful gloves, when has that ever been a problem? Because, you know, Boots like to wear, like, his flashy shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, he liked to wear, like, his bright colors. Like, he wore pink his last fight. Like, he'll wear, like, a really bright red. And, you know, like, Boots like to, you know, he's a showman in that way. You know what I'm saying? He like to put on little dope outfits or whatever. I don't see how that could be advantageous in a fight whatsoever. So at this point, you're just nitpicking shit to try to just get in somebody's head. Because like I said, it's either psychological warfare, where you're just trying to get Boots out of his character, or you really don't want to fight. Like, niggas who really want to rumble are not worried about how colorful a nigga's gloves are. Like, I promise you that. I swear, I've never even heard I didn't even hear Oscar De La Hoya be hard in negotiations like that. Like, I've heard, you know, I've heard that Oscar used to pick the judges. You know, he used to pick the size of the ring, what gloves the fighter would be wearing. He had all these different demands and stuff like that. Oscar was the man at the end of the day. He was a golden boy. But I don't think Oscar really asked for things that just seemed utterly ridiculous. I guess he just felt like, man, I grinded to get in this position. You want to fight me? You want to get this type of money? These are the things that, you know, I need to be set in place in order to fight. And, you know, I never heard nobody ever complain about Oscar De La Hoya's demands anyway. You feel what I'm saying? I heard Floyd, you know, that whole McDonald with the glove situation. Oh, these gloves ain't got no padding. Just put them in the same gloves as me. I've seen that type situation before, but not ever in my boxing career as a coach, former fighter, whatever the case is. I've never heard anybody complain about. I've heard people complain about gloves because, you know, some gloves, you know, don't have any padding. They could be dangerous towards the fighter. You know, the horsehair gloves could cut somebody open very easily. So a lot of people refrain from having their opponents wear those gloves. I've heard that before, but I've never, ever heard somebody complain or demand that a fighter not wear a colorful boxing glove. And what the fuck is considered colorful? Like that's what I'm like. So what color do you want the gloves to be, nigga? Do you? Next thing you know, you probably gonna want the fight to be broadcasted in black and white too, my nigga. Are you just what do you consider? What do you consider colorful? What's colorful? Anything that's not black or white? Anything that just that's blue? Is blue too colorful? Is pink like he just wore in his last fight too colorful? How about purple, nigga? Like what the fuck? That's just so vague to me and just so confusing overall. What is too colorful? Nigga, is this colorful? Like talk to me, man. What is it that they were trying to do? Yeah, but yeah, Beth, you heard it right. He said what? Bethaniel says so. The teams ain't to get the whole cut beard thing from this or something. No, that's just something that the commit. You know, they looked over like the rulings from the commission and stuff like that. And like I said, some commissions are more laid back than others, but commissions will ask a fighter if their beard is long to trim it. They don't say to shave it, but to trim it, because they feel like the facial hair could get in an opponent's eye, or they say some ridiculous stuff like, oh, a beard could be padding for your chin or some bullshit like that. Listen, man, hair will never be thick enough or hard enough, whatever the fuck you wanted to call it, to pad somebody's chin from taking a punch in some 8 to 10 ounce gloves. Anybody who believes that has never taken a punch in their life. And I'm not the most experienced boxer. Everybody know my time was cut very short. But guess what? I know what the fuck a punch feel like. And guess what? I have a motherfucking beard. And my beard has been much longer than this in the past. I'm going to tell you something. A fucking beard. Because my beard done been as low as like down here before. Trust me, longer than Boots' beard. For sure. No doubt. I've been hit with shots and never felt like, oh, thank God I had a beard. Because that shit don't help you. You make it, the only thing that's gonna help you is your motherfucking defense. Ain't no beard gonna stop you from getting put out with a shot. Not saying that I got put out, but I'm saying hypothetically speaking, if you were to get hit with some hot shit, your beard not gonna stop that shit from doing its damage. It's gonna do its damage whether you got a beard or not. So what the fuck? I don't even understand the ruling. And then it's like, then the whole thing with that ruling is, what if Boots was Muslim? Because it's literally against their religion to cut their beard. And they used to try to give my boy, if the maestro's still in the building, he tell you. They used to try to give him all types of bullshit for having a beard. And he ain't never cut that shit. Because that is, you're literally violating that man's rights. What's that, like the First Amendment, freedom of religion? You about to violate that, bro. Yo, y'all about to violate a nigga's, about to violate that nigga's rights to try to follow some type of policy. That's a lawsuit right there. I remember Derek used to have to like pay that nigga used to have to fill out like a ticket or some shit and have to pay for he had to pay to keep his beard or something. I'm pretty sure that was kind of wild to me. I didn't really understand that. For real. And I think they got rid of that ruling too. I think Derek need to get some of that. I think Derek need to be reimbursed for that. That was some bullshit. Yeah, you had to fill paperwork out before every fight. That's, bro, I swear, we should have had a lawyer look into that because that's crazy. Yeah. So, anyways, man, not to get too much into our personal experiences and stuff like that, but colorful gloves, y'all. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put a motherfucking let me see if I can do this on here. Can I do this on here? StreamYard, as much as they making me pay, they are making some good little decent they are adding some little cool features on here, and I see that you can actually do a poll on StreamYard now. I don't have to go directly to the YouTube app. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a question for y'all in the chat. And what I'm gonna ask is colorful gloves. I can't believe I'm asking this, bro. But I just want to see what the people think. I feel like I know the answer already, but I just want to interact with y'all. I want to interact with y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that poll in the building. Let me know if y'all could vote, man. It says no. I'm sorry. Is getting rid of Boots' colorful gloves. Mind games are looking for a way out. Type 1 or 2 in the chat, man. Let me know what y'all think, and if y'all think it's either one of those, let me know why. Triple G never had a beard he could take punches. Yeah, punch resistance got nothing to do with you having facial hair. I think that's safe to say at this point. You know what I mean? My boy R. Ellis in the building said, I want to see Boots versus Kelly in the UK or ATL. Well, Boots is definitely plotting on the ATL, on Atlanta and stuff like that. He said that, I feel like Philly to him. And, he just said it's very lively. And, ATL has a strong, African American presence. So maybe that's why Boots fuck with it so much. And, they have a lively boxing scene over there as well that I think is very underappreciated, very underrated. So if that's what Boots wants to do, then that's a dope situation. I would love to see Boots, travel around the country and sell out different, arenas, stadiums, whatever the case is, man. That's part of what it takes to become a star in the sport of boxing. We seen Gervonta Davis do a fight in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Seen a fight in Vegas, fight in Atlanta. He done fought all over the place, man, and he was able to sell successfully in each location that he had went to. And that just built his profile at the end of the day. Jaron Ennis looks like he's looking to do the same thing. Nothing wrong with copying that blueprint. Or at least doing your own version of that blueprint. You feel what I'm saying? So the only thing is with me, man, I think Josh Kelly and them is going to play hardball just like Vergil Ortiz did. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me actually read this comment real quick. My boy Boxing Wiz in the building. He said, colorful gloves isn't an issue. I understand the glitter on the laces of Ray Ford's gloves, but telling Boots no colorful gloves is crazy. Yeah, I understand the glitter on the laces. You know what I'm saying? Because that, they could be in the clinch or whatever the case is, or, they might get a little physical in the clinch, and maybe Raymond Ford's laces touch Oshaki's eye, and some of that glitter may come off of the laces and get into Oshaki's eye. That could be a distraction. That could hinder his performance, and it could potentially, not to be too dramatic or anything like that, but it could probably blind him in the ring. Where at a moment in time or during a crucial part of a round, he may not be able to see punches, and you know what happens when you don't see punches. That shit could really be the reason why you get packed up and sent about your way. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I think, but to get back to my previous point, I think Josh Kelly and them is going to play real hardball, man. I mean, I think they're going to play real hardball out here in these streets. I don't think Josh Kelly is going to bow down to Boots' demands or whatever the case is. I think he's going to be looking, him and his team is going to be looking at it like, yo, we world champions just like you. You know what I'm saying? So they probably going to want to more. I know they're going to shoot heavy to try to have the fight happen in the UK. I know that they're going to bring that up as an option. Boots and them most likely are going to want to stay in the US, especially Bozy, because from what I understand, I just seen him out in Cali, but for the most part, Bozy don't like to fly. A lot of people don't really know that, so I highly doubt that he wants to do a long flight. You know what I mean? That from Philly to Cali is like a 6-hour flight, so I already know he didn't really enjoy that too much. But I mean, that might be a little bit of an obstacle. I don't think Josh Kelly is going to want to do the fight in Philadelphia. A lot of people are optimistic about Boots fighting Josh Kelly in Philadelphia next. I don't think that happens unless they pay Josh Kelly an absurd amount of money. What else? I think they're just going to play hardball overall because they know that Boots is a very dangerous fight. They know that Boots may very possibly take their belt because, I think they recognize the threat that he is. So if we're going to possibly lose, you better believe that before we lose this world title, we're going to leave with something. So I don't think it's going to be as simple as people think. The fight may very well get made. They agreed the terms, previously when they first signed with Eddie Hearn and stuff like that. I guess that's still a relevant situation. They're about to fight, July 25th, which is in 6 days from now. And, if he comes out successful in this fight against, his opponent, which I don't know too much about, then you know what I'm saying? They could possibly fight later this year. I'm pretty sure Eddie Hearn is gonna, go all in on that situation because he would love for Boots, seeing how much of a draw Boots has become since being with Eddie Hearn. I'm sure Eddie Hearn wants him to continuously be in big, significant fights. So, why not do an in-house unification fight? You know what I mean? That should be easy to take care of. And from there, you know what I mean? You could set up a fight for undisputed against Sebastian Fundora in early 2027. It just makes all of the sense in the world to me. I was trying to give Vergil Ortiz an opportunity and be like, yo, man, while Boots is over there fighting Josh Kelly, go lock in a fight with Sebastian Fundora. But you know what I'm saying? When you when you got management that rubs people the wrong way or go about negotiations in a horrible, in a horrible manner, you know what I mean? It's almost like Vergil Ortiz is being like shadow banned or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Or what they call it, like blackballed or whatever the case is. But he ain't got nobody to blame but himself. He has nobody to blame but himself because you want to be hands off with the business. You want to allow other people to, guide your career, and you put very little, time into the business side of things. You just let other people take over, the negotiations at your table. You got to pay the consequences for your negligence, man. That's just how I see the shit, to be honest with you. The homie by the name of Hollywood 1315 said, take it to Atlanta. I need a vacation. I feel you, brother. I personally never been to Atlanta. I don't know what it's like, but I heard it, like I said, I heard it's very lively and shit. If I had the opportunity to travel for a fight, I would definitely go to Atlanta to see that shit, man. But I heard Atlanta is a little expensive. You know what I'm saying? I heard it's expensive. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I'd be very surprised if Josh Kelly takes a fight with Boots in Atlanta or Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, I feel like the only location that Josh Kelly would look at to make this fight happen is like a Vegas. You know what I'm saying? That's like the mecca of like big events in boxing. You know what I mean? It's a neutral location because that's on the West Coast and Boots is from the East Coast. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll look more at that. I don't think he would even look in the direction of a New York because he's seen how many people Boots brought to the Barclays, and he would very well be outnumbered. And I don't think Josh Kelly is that popular of a fighter in the UK for thousands of, Britons, I guess you would say. I don't think he's popular enough for, people out in the UK to fly over to come see him fight, especially if they don't feel like he has like a big chance. You know what I'm saying? So I think if that fight does happen, I think it's more of a Vegas fight, man. I'm sorry. I just that's how I see it. I could very well be wrong, but it just something just tells me that Josh Kelly and them gonna be hard to deal with in negotiations, man. Atlanta, a movie, bro. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Yo, Hollywood funny as shit. He said, man, ain't no Spirit no more. Them Vegas flights high from Philly. Yo, I heard they shut Spirit down. I ain't fly in 2 years. But I think I flew Spirit to Puerto Rico, and then I flew back on Frontier. Just because it was like a little 3-day vacation or whatever the case is. Damn. So all flights is high as shit right now, huh? Let me see something. Philadelphia. Let me check the flight information. Philadelphia to Las Vegas. Let me see. Bro, they got round trips. On American Airlines right now. That's my favorite airlines, by the way. The best experience I had flying was with American. They got it ain't that expensive, bro. It's not that expensive. I'm saying a round trip for 360. That's not bad. So if you was to go to Vegas from August 22nd to August 29th, hypothetically speaking, right? Bro, that is not that much, bro. Basic economy is 363. You know what I mean? That's not that bad. I'm thinking it's gonna be like double that. I'm like, shit. Yeah. Talk of SD. What's going on, brother? Are you? I think I asked you last time, brother, but I don't think I got a response for you. My fault if I'm making you repeat yourself. Are you on? You from Claymore Rain channel, right? He said do both ways. No, I did. I did, bro. I did. I did both ways. Yeah. 363 for basic economy with American Airlines. And you bring one free carry on. That's all I need. I could get some shit. I could put a lot of shit in the carry on. Okay, yo, you should come on the channel real quick and chop it up with me, brother. You got time or you busy? He said, "Hey, you head down to LV for the Ryan versus Ben fight. Let's chop it up." Ah, nah, man, I can't give them my money, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ryan ain't getting a dollar out of me at all. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all want to go support that. You know what I mean? As boxer fans, that's your prerogative. But me personally, that disrespectful shit that Ryan did in the past, there's no way I could feel right as a man to go ahead and give him my money. I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? But salute to everybody that's going out and supporting the fight. At the end of the day, stylistically, it's an intriguing fight. I love the fight. Between Conor and Ryan. I see a lot of opportunities stylistically. No, I see things from both guys that's gonna make it an intriguing fight. Ryan Garcia. I'm sure he's on a high right now. He got his first world title, and now he's about to experience something that he's never had to do in his career, and that's defend the world title for the first time. So of course he's going to be coming in motivated. He doesn't want to be known as a fighter with zero title defenses or a one and done type of fighter. We done seen plenty of those guys in the past. So I'm sure he's gonna look to make a statement. And you got Conor Ben, who this is his first world title opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are doubting him. They didn't really like his latest performance with Regis Prograis or anything like that. So and he looked horrible on the scale when he weighed 150 pounds. So now they're asking him to lose three or more pounds to fight for the WBC title. Something just tells me that he's not going to make weight. That's just a little bold prediction that I got. And I really think that this is Ryan Garcia's fight to win, just because of how much it's going to take, how much Conor Ben is going to have to sacrifice in order to make weight. You can't tell me that it's going to be easy for Conor Ben to make weight when he hasn't competed at welterweight in like 4 years, the full weight limit in like 4 years. He tested positive for the PEDs. He fought at 54 a couple times. He fought Orozco. He fought Pete Dobson. Then he went up to 160, put on all that muscle to acclimate to 160 pounds against Chris Eubank twice. You know what I'm saying? Went 1-1 in that situation. Then all of a sudden, he got to cut into his muscle to get back down to the welterweight division because, let's keep it real, Conor Ben don't like his odds. He don't like his chances competing for a world title at 154 pounds. You got Boots there. You got Fundora there. You got Josh Kelly there. I don't think Conor Ben beats a Josh Kelly, to be real. So taking all of that into consideration, he's coming down to 147 because he sees that there's, more of a likelihood for him to win a world title. And I could see Conor Ben's mentality like, oh, Ryan Garcia, he ain't got no heart. He quits. I even heard him say it during the press conference. So that's something that he believes he could take advantage of, because Conor Ben has showed heart in the ring. He's shown a good chin as well. However, that was at a weight limit that he's no longer partaking in. So when you usually lose weight, your punch resistance goes along with it, especially when you're cutting into the muscle. I've seen that happen plenty of times. So with that being said, this is a fight where Conor Ben, he may have the heart He may have the grit. He may have the determination. He also he's a good volume puncher as well. He stays busy in the ring, and he may actually outwork somebody like Ryan Garcia. But one thing about Ryan Garcia is he might not throw as many punches as a Conor Benn, but he is a sniper with that fucking left hook. And Conor Benn does get hit. He does get hit. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, with him having to sacrifice a lot to get to the 147-pound division, him not looking healthy at 150 pounds, how much worse he's going to look with 3 extra pounds taken off on top of that. How is he going to be able to take a flush power shot from a Ryan Garcia who seems to be fast and powerful at the weight? That's going to be interesting to see, man. That's going to be very interesting to see, because I don't think a Regis Prograde performance from Conor Benn is going to be enough to defeat a Ryan Garcia. That's just me. I see a lot of people rooting for Conor Benn and all of that. I look at both of these guys the same. I do dislike Ryan Garcia slightly more because he's a fucking racist. But outside of that, both of these guys are drug chiefs. So that's why I've been running around telling everybody, man, may the best PED win. May the best chemist win. May the best juice win at the end of the day, because both of these guys aren't anybody to, rely on. They're not dependable whatsoever. You can't trust these guys to be clean athletes. So why would I go out of my way to invest my money into them? Why would I give them, a crazy payday when I know that they got a history of being, malevolent, nefarious in the sport of boxing? That's not something that I support whatsoever. And, I'm not telling anybody to follow my lead, but at the same time, it's like, if you're for the sport of boxing, if you're pushing the boxing culture forward, and you understand how detrimental, how hurtful, PEDs can be to the sport of boxing, along with some racism, I don't understand why you would even put $1 in their direction, especially if you're a black man. I'm gonna just say that if you are a black man and you are putting up a significant amount of money to support Ryan Garcia, I can't help but look at you as a sellout. I'm seeing Paulie Malignaggi out here saying that people who sign with Zuffa are sellouts and shit like that. I don't really look at them that way. I see those guys as somebody who's taking advantage of, a company right now that's overpaying fighters. We seen Tevin Farmer do it when the Zone became a new network. We seen Mikey Garcia do it when they became a new network. We seen Floyd Mayweather do it with Showtime when they gave him a big ass deal. We seen all those PBC fighters that that came up around the time that Premier Boxing Champions took up off the ground, and they was overpaying fighters as well to become a relevant network in the sport of boxing. They're just placing themselves in the right place at the right time, and they're getting a whole bunch of money that's being put on the table. At the end of the day, these guys are prize fighters, so of course they're gonna look for the biggest bag possible. And a lot of these dudes, whether they want to admit it or not, are actually trying to get the biggest bag for the least amount of risk. That's what they don't want to tell you. They want to make it seem like, oh, I'm macho, I fight anybody. Bro, these fighters want the biggest bag for the least amount of risk possible. And that's the reality at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what the people talking about. What? Heard Opataya supposed to be on the undercard against CBS. Is that the bull? Is his name Chris Billum? Is it Chris Billum Smith? Is that who you're referring to? Because I ain't gonna lie, at first I'm thinking Cool Boy Steph. So I had to really sit there and think about it. I appreciate that, SD. Thank you, man. He said, smash the like, support the channel. Yeah, man. Yeah. A lot of people be watching me. They be side-eyeing watching me. They be hating on the channel for real, but they don't be trying to hit that like button. They don't want to see me progress. But with this shit I got in play right now, I swear to God, I'm gonna flip this boxing game on this motherfucking head. And everybody gonna be with their hands out looking for an opportunity. I can't wait to tell these niggas, no. So enjoy the channel while it's on the low right now, because once it blow up, niggas gonna pay. That's all I know. The dude who looked like John Cena. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. So I had to really think. I was like, I know Jai ain't about to fight no cool boy stuff. Then I had to really think about the cruiserweights. I'm like, all right, Chris Billum Smith. That's what he got to be talking about. All right, my boy SD said, "You've always consistent, bro. Always on, always got great takes." Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. That's the goal, man. You know what I mean? There'll be a lot of days where I don't want to get on here, but I know what I got. I know what my goals are. I know exactly what it is that I want to do with the sport of boxing outside of coaching, of course. And I understand that, you got to get up and grind to get where you want to go. You feel what I'm saying? And I already know. I think I've already accepted the fact, in all honesty, that I won't ever be one of those guys who signs with like a big network, like a Ring Magazine or a Zuffa or TNT. I don't think I'll ever get there, man. I think I'm too raw. I think I'm too unfiltered to be on them type of platforms. But that's I'm here to make my own platform, man. I mean, that's just what it is. You got, like Howard Stern, he wasn't cut to fit anybody's program. He had to create his own radio show and do his own. He had to do shit his way. You feel what I mean? That's just how you got to do it. Like Cam and Mace, ain't nobody take them serious as like sports analysts or commentators. So what did they do? They made their own. They made their own lane. They made their own platform. And now we seeing Cameron on ESPN First Take. Like sometimes you gotta, to really get these motherfuckers' attention, you gotta build your own platform. You know what I mean? Take their audience from them, and then that's when they'll start acting like, oh, you know what? We should bring them around. This is how that shit goes sometimes. My boy Josue Hernandez, he said, Mazuma, we got a great day of boxing on Saturday. Oh yeah, man. The return of Errol Spence Jr., man. I'm very nervous / excited for that situation. Because the reality is, a lot of people keep asking me, what's going on, man? Who you got, Earl Spence or Tim Tszyu? Bro, I don't know. When there's circumstances like this that are in play, you never know what the fuck is going to happen. When you got somebody who just came off of a 3-year layoff, like he been active, he been in camp, but none of that shit adds up to actually being under the bright lights. I just want to say that. I never fought under them bright lights, but guess what? I know the difference between sparring and actual competition, 2 totally different settings. So I can only imagine the difference between sparring and then fighting in an arena where thousands of people are cheering or booing at you. I can only imagine the type of pressure that's on you in that moment. Plus, on top of that, Errol Spence is going to be in Australia, so they showing him zero love because, well, they might show him love like when he, in the streets walking around and shit like that. But that arena, you already know Tim Tszyu people are going to be out there tripping. Errol Spence said when he was in the UK, they was throwing, because Kell Brook was like, I know you're ready, I know you're hungry, chocolate brownie, hot and ready. Kell Brook was on some weird shit like that. So he kept saying that he was going to hit Earl with a chocolate brownie. And as Earl was walking out, he said the niggas was really throwing chocolate brownies at him. That could really get in your head if you don't have that mental fortitude. You know what I'm saying? So he's going over to Australia. He said he's been all over the world in the amateurs and shit like that. But the reality is, this not the amateurs. You're not as young as you once was in the amateurs. You're not as fresh as you was in the amateurs. You got more miles on you. You're coming off of ring rust, inactivity. Even if you don't believe in ring rust, that is a situation that you will be having, in my opinion. And we don't know where your punch resistance at, man, because the last time we saw you, you got beat badly. And when people get their ass whooped like that, they're usually not the same after the fact. Now, them 3 years may have he may have did a whole lot of healing in that process, and him falling back. Maybe that just added time to his career. We don't know, but that's my whole thing, man. That's the first thing that comes into my mind. Usually, I have a great take for y'all. Usually, I have a knowledgeable perspective on a fight for y'all, but this right here is gonna come down to, and I know it may sound cliche because I'm pretty sure other people have said it. It depends on what we get from Errol Spence Jr. And I could sit here and guess all day, like, oh yeah, Earl's gonna be back, or no, Earl's not the same. I could sit here and guess all day, bro. I don't know. And I'm not confident in either prediction, whether I say Earl Spence wins or he loses, because, we done seen, a few people speak on, the sparring sessions they just recently had where Earl Spence, seen Brian Mendoza say something along the lines of, what was that? He said, oh yeah, Earl is definitely back. He took some good punches and took some good punches. There ain't nothing to brag about. That's not something that's a credit to Earl. That just mean it just Brian Mendoza framed it in a way where it was like he framed it in a way where he seemed like he was punching on Earl. So if he's punching on Earl and sparring, I mean, that's not a good look for Earl. But he framed it in a way where, like, oh man, he's tough, he could take a shot. Like, no, there ain't nothing to be bragging about. Like, if you're taking punishment in sparring sessions, it may not be that good for you in the actual fight, especially with them 10-ounce gloves on. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. Earl Spence, he never competed at a high level at 154 pounds. So now he's going up to 160 pounds. Now, we see what happened to fighters who were natural welterweights that ended up going up to 160 and have no business being at 160. We seen how the way Danny Garcia got packed up against Erislandy Lara and coming off of a layoff himself. And Danny ain't take the type of punishment that Earl Spence took. The nigga was just sitting around waiting for an opportunity. He got one. And then, he got punished by the bigger man. And Tim Tszyu is the bigger man because he was able to, he's been campaigning and competing at a high level at a bigger weight. So this is something, and they said he fought 2 times in the last 6 months. This is an uphill battle for Earl Spence, y'all. This is an uphill battle for Earl Spence. We love Earl Spence. Do I want to see him win? Yes. I would love to see him win in devastating fashion. If he was to pack Tim Tszyu, I would love to see that. And Earl Spence, he comes across very confident. Like he's saying shit like, I'm gonna do you so bad, blah blah blah. He feeling a little bit of a way because Tim Tszyu isn't sure if Earl's gonna be ready or not, and Earl takes that as an insult. There's a lot of things being said that gives you the impression that Earl Spence's competitive edge is still there. However, there are some things that Earl Spence is saying that's a bit concerning as well. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like when I seen Andre Ward ask Earl why he's coming back, and he said because he's bored, I don't feel like that's a valid enough reason, in my opinion, to try to find your way back into the sport. It just sounds like you're looking for something to do. And boxing ain't just something to be doing, man. Too dangerous. You know what I mean? And I know, Earl Spence been doing this since he was a kid, and he done fought at an elite level. I'm sure he's aware of how dangerous the sport is. But when I don't really feel like that's a valid enough reason. Now, if he would have said, I still feel like I can compete at a high level, I'm motivated, I'm looking to prove the people wrong. Bro, this man said that he came back because he was bored. His family wanted him to stay retired. And he said he may retire after this fight right here. So when somebody has that retirement mentality, shit usually doesn't go well. One of my favorite examples was when, Jamel Hearn went ahead and packed up Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton, he was coming out saying, if I lose to Jamel Hearn, I'll retire and shit like that. And when you hear a fighter say shit like that, to me, it just sounds like they already got one foot out the door. They just looking for a reason to bring the other foot with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that Earl Spence is saying as well that's coming across as concerning. But maybe that's a fluke. Maybe Earl Spence is back. But based off of all of the information that I've been able to gather in the lead up to this fight, it just don't sound like a good idea for me, man. Tim Tszyu said that he was cool with the 160-pound weight limit. And the reason why he said that is because he don't want to hear no excuses from Earl, and he wants to beat up the best version of Earl. So he's confident. He trusts his activity. And he feels like he has what it takes to beat Earl. Earl feels the same way. But if I had to lean towards somebody, I'm leaning towards Tim Tszyu, y'all. And I hate to say that because, I rock with Earl way more than Tim Tszyu, but I just can't go against my mind in this situation. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the times when I put my heart over my mind, I usually look dumb at the end of the day. So, You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to avoid that now. But like I said, I hope Errol Spence proves me wrong. I hope that I come up on this platform apologizing to Errol Spence for doubting him. And I hope that, he gets a good fucking victory over Tim Tszyu. And I'm not about to sit here and act like Tim Tszyu doesn't have his issues. Because to be real with you, Tim Tszyu's a damaged fighter in his own right. Ever since that first Sebastian Fundora fight, Tim Tszyu's mentality, I feel like his fighting spirit hasn't really been the same. I think that cut that he got on the top of his head against Sebastian Fundora, I think that made him. I think that shit like gave him like a form of like PTSD. To be honest with you, since then, Tim Tszyu's confidence hasn't been the same in my opinion. I get the cool word to say nowadays is aura. Feels like that's not really the same either. I remember there was a moment where I don't know, I don't remember if it was the Bachram fight or the Sebastian Fundora rematch. I think it was the Bachram fight where there may have been like a clash of heads, and the first thing Tim Tszyu does when he gets into the clash of heads, he goes like this and then he looks at his hand. So it was so much from that moment, it let me know that Tim Tszyu was so traumatized by that injury that his worst fear was for it to happen again. And the moment that he felt, a shot hit him in that area, the first thing he did was to check to see if it had opened back up. To me, that's somebody who wasn't confident in the recovery process. He may have very well rushed his recovery process, and it cost him as a result of that. So we've seen him take a lot of punishment, bleed a whole lot in that first Sebastian Fundora fight. He takes the first L of his career. Then he jumps right into a big fight without taking the time to heal. He jumps into a fight with a dangerous, big puncher, big 154 in all honesty, in Bachram Murtazaliev. And we've seen what happened to him, man. That boy got packed, expedited, sent right back over to Australia, left that motherfucker right at his doorstep off of them left hooks he was catching. Ugly, ugly knockout loss. It was embarrassing, to be honest with you. So then, he comes back. I think he beats up on Joey Spencer or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? Who, he was a good amateur and shit like that, but he never really added up in the pros. Beats up on Joey Spencer. So then he gets back in the mix with Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora confidence is at an all-time high. He's developing as a fighter. And he beats up on Tim Tszyu, drops Tim Tszyu, punishes him. Motherfucker quits in his corner. You know what I'm saying? So from there, Tim Tszyu ain't really been the same. And I see that he's been active and stuff like that, but respectfully, in terms of fighting at a high level and actually doing some significant things in the 154-pound division, Tim Tszyu's been a bit quiet, man. He really has. Since then, he's just been staying in Australia, and, he's beating guys, but, nobody that, really jumps off of the page or makes you think that Tim Tszyu is ready for title contention once again or anything of that nature. He actually beat 2 undefeated guys back to back. But to be honest with you, nothing where it's like, oh man, Tim Tszyu, he's ready for a Jaron Ennis. So he's ready for a Josh Kelly. Oh, he's ready for a trilogy fight with Sebastian Fundora. Like it's definitely none of that. It's definitely none of that. So he's a damaged fighter as well, and I think that's what makes it interesting. There's 2 damaged fighters, so I think it's ultimately going to come down to who has more in the tank. But even with Tim Tszyu sustaining that damage in his career, I still think that he has more momentum than Errol Spence Jr. I do think that he may be the more, he's the more active fighter because like I said, they say he fought 2 times in the last 6 months. So with that being said, like, you got to, activity could very much play a part in this fight. It may take a little while for Errol Spence to, get things up and running again, to really get his tools back to work. How do we know how Errol Spence is going to react getting hit by 154-pounder? It's just a lot, man. Like I'm concerned about Earl Spence's punch resistance with them small gloves on and no headgear. The ring rust, I'm definitely worried about that. Um, and then another thing is too is like you're going to Australia and they back they fighters, so it's like it might be a situation where they probably will be hesitant in giving you the victory because you know what I'm saying? It's like Earl Spence is popular and shit like that, but he's been super inactive. Boxing done moved on for him. So Earl Spence may very well be well known and loved, liked, all of that, but he's not the biggest star anymore. So they probably liable of liable of robbing Earl Spence out there in Australia. But I mean, that's just my whole take on the situation, man. Like I said, I'm rooting for Earl Spence. I'm wanting to prove me wrong, but as of right now and how the way things are looking, I think Tim Zoo's gonna pull it off. Let me see something real quick, yo. My boy De La Soul in the building. What's going on, brother? I hope we getting them likes up, man. We got 50 people in the building. What's up? What's up? Talk to me, y'all. What's on y'all mind? De La Soul said, I think after Crawford fight, Spence doesn't want to retire with that type of performance. He's going for his last ride, and I'm rooting for him. I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And I like the fact that he actually chose somebody, um, of quality, I guess you'll say, to, try to get a win against. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays, I think the smarter thing to do, in all honesty, I think what the average fighter would have done was take a little light, tune up, you know what I'm saying? And, get back in the winning column, run off 2, 3 fights maybe, and then, get back against them top guys to see if you got something left. But Earl Spence going straight into the smoke. He don't believe in tune-ups. He don't believe in ring rust. So he needed something that was going to actually motivate him. So I guess he felt, and that's another thing that's concerning, because it's like if a 3-year layoff ain't enough to motivate you to get back in the mix, it almost makes me question exactly why. Like, well, so why are you boxing then? Like, if you don't miss the sport coming off of a 3-year layoff, you just better off just retiring. But it is what it is. I guess he needed something to really make him get into his training camp bag and stuff like that. So he's like, all right, let's do it in Australia. You know what I mean? Going to Australia made very well excited Earl Spence, and that's what got him to get up and get ready for a fight. So maybe that's what he wants to do. But the thing is, what if Earl Spence comes up short in this fight too? Is he going to continue to fight these quality names until he gets a win? Because at that point, if he continues to lose, then he'll just end up being an opponent. And that's not something I would ever expect Earl Spence to be. So very, very risky comeback fight considering the circumstances from your previous outing. What Adam Hurley said, out of the ring for 3 years is some serious time. That's a fact. That's a fact. That ain't nothing to play with. That's a serious time away from the sport. You know what I mean? There's people who come back off of that long layoff and think, oh, I'm well rested, I'm rejuvenated, I'm ready. Then they come back and they're not the same. So, yeah, we going to see, man. We going to see. I'm going to know within the first couple rounds. I should know by the first round exactly what we dealing with Earl Spence. I'm going to check. I'm going to definitely be looking at his balance. I'm going to see when Tim Tszyu throws a shot where his reflexes are going to be. I've seen him working on his head movement with Ronnie Shields. So we're going to see how defensively responsible he is. If he gets hit clean in the first round, I'm going to see how his body language responds to the shot. But, man, every time I keep visualizing the fight, man, I just get more and more nervous for Earl, bro. Because something tells me if a fight breaks out in the ring, he not going to remember none of that shit Ronnie told him or taught him. He going to go back to old EJ, trying to bang with Tszyu. I don't see him taking a back step. I see him trying to be on the inside and rip with Tim Tszyu. He going to run into some hellacious shots from Tim Tszyu. And because he didn't take a clean shot in so long in a pro boxing setting, he may not respond well to it because he took a lot of damage in his previous fight, car accident shit like that. He may not take them power shots too well, and his body may respond negatively. So it's a lot of shit that's making me nervous with Earl, man. I just hope that regardless of the outcome, he comes out healthy, man. Because Earl done put through in a small amount of time, man. He done put his body through a whole lot. You know, car accidents, attached rapeness, punishment in the ring, all within a short time span. So, um, yeah, man. And I think that was all within like 2 years' time. Like when he flew out of that car, that was like 2022, I think. When did he fight Sean Porter? That probably was before that. When he fought Sean Porter, I'm sorry, that was 2019. Goddamn. So yeah, that was all within like a 4 years time frame. The car accident. I mean, the detached retina because he was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao. And he get punished by Bud in 2023. Bad John, man. Bad John. But what the questions looking like, man? I'm gonna take a few of these before I get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that's supporting as always. I hope y'all guys hitting the likes because I heard the likes was disgusting earlier. Hopefully they got a little bit higher. You know what I mean? He came back against Danny in December. Yeah. Yup. And he beat up on Danny. You know what I'm saying? He beat Danny up. He beat up Ugas too. He stopped Ugas. So then that approach against Terrence Crawford, the lack of preparation for Terrence Crawford, the negligence in training camp for Terrence Crawford costed him, man. Costed him very much so. And you know, Stephen Fulton's supposed to be fighting Liam Wilson on the card. I'm familiar with Liam Wilson. I remember when he fought Oscar Valdez some time back. I remember that fight very well. I remember he fought Emmanuel Navarrete too. Yeah, he went at it. He went at it with Navarrete. I remember that shit. He gave Navarrete a tough fight. So this could be a tough fight for Cool Boy, man. This could be a real tough fight for Cool Boy. Now, what I'm interested in is what weight is Fulton fighting at? Because I know Liam Wilson fights at 130 pounds. His most recent fights have been at 130 pounds. But Liam Wilson actually has fought at 135 several times. So I was looking at that, and I was trying to figure out, like, what weight is this fight going to be at? Okay, so according to PBC, it's going to be a 10-round super featherweight attraction. So good. This is a 130-pound fight. That's exactly what it should be. Because even though it shouldn't be at 130, I mean, I don't think Cool Boy should be at 130 at all. I think he's too small for the weight. Because he won't have to train as hard to get that weight off, I don't think we're going to see the sharpest version of Stephen Fulton, but you know, it is what it is, man. Some motherfuckers they get to a certain part of their career where they don't want to train as hard or they don't want to make the sacrifices. They get, I guess, jaded with the whole weight cut process. So, you know, they just stay at higher weight classes where they feel more comfortable so they don't have to deal with the stress of, you know, losing weight, I guess. Is Fulton still training with Boozy? I have not seen Fulton training with Boozy. From what I saw, I seen him training at Danny Garcia's gym, which is a private boxing gym. And I actually seen him with his past trainer. His name is Hamza. That's the Untouchables boxing team or whatever the case is. That's who Cool Boy was with, you know, in the very beginning of his pro career. And I think that's what he won his first world title with. And I don't know exactly what happened between them. Then I stopped seeing Hamza as much, and I started seeing him with his manager Wahid. And then I seen Bozy in the picture. Now Bozy seems to not be in the picture, and it looks like Wahid is back. I don't know what the dynamic is. I really don't got an answer for you for what's going on, to be real. But Wahid, from what I'm sorry, not Wahid. Hamza, from what I understand, is a solid trainer. Uh, Wahid has Stephen Fulton's best interest, from what I understand as well. So he should be okay. But with this quick turnaround that Fulton has right now, I wonder if he's actually sharpening his tools or he's just worried about getting the weight off. You said he's with Rel. I seen him doing pad work with Rel, but I don't think Rel is his. I don't think Rel trains him. You know what I mean? Because sometimes them motherfuckers bring Rel around just to get sharp on the pads, and nothing wrong with that at all. But from what I know, I see Hamza over there with Fulton. That's not a bad. That's not a bad person to have in your corner. Rel is a very experienced coach, amateur and pros. He done did it at a high level with all of them. See, look.
And with that glory,
So you see Fulton training in Australia.
You don't have no boring fights. Cool boy Steppers, y'all know. You don't have no boring fights. He come to fight. Liam Wilson.
That's Hamza.
He's going to do. He's hometown. He fighting with that glory. So.
But what I am seeing is Fulton training with that sauna suit on. So that's either a good thing or that's a bad thing. Well, it could be a good thing because a lot of the times people put sauna suits on to get like those last couple pounds off. So if he's only a couple pounds off, that's a good thing. But a lot of people also put sauna suits on when they have a lot of water weight to cut. That could be a bad thing. I see Fulton doing a lot of like fat burning type of workouts. I'm seeing him on the treadmill. He got the hoodie up, so that means that he's looking to sweat as much as possible. I'm seeing him do pad work as well. I don't know, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, Fulton has disappointed me a lot within these last couple fights. The Oshaki Foster fight was a very disappointing fight for me to experience, especially with the things that I was hearing behind the scenes. And for him to, take this, I highly doubt Fulton had a full training camp for this fight. You know what I'm saying? So probably took this with a few weeks' notice. And it's hard for me to believe that Fulton is going to bring the best version of himself into this fight with Liam Wilson, who's a tough outing. It's a tough outing, man. That dude is tough. He's going to come to fight. It's going to be hard for me to believe that Fulton is going to be the best version of himself because, in my opinion, he's at a weight class that he doesn't belong in. That's just me. And I don't know if he's had enough time to really sharpen his tools, come up with the perfect strategy to fight Liam Wilson, get himself in the best condition as possible. To me, it just sounds like he missed weight his last fight. This may very well be a fat camp. And he's just going to rumble. Fuck it. But I don't think that's the type of approach you should have for anybody, let alone a Liam Wilson. And I'm not trying to doubt, like my American brothers. I'm telling you about Earl, I'm telling you about Fulton, but they both coming from some negative, they both coming from some negative situations. So I don't know. It's tough. Do I see Shakur fighting again this year? Yeah, sir. From what I understand, Shakur already had like spilt the beans a little bit about him coming back in like October. So he's definitely coming back in 2026. If he don't come back in 2026 after announcing his signing with Zuffa, that's a huge disservice to him. Can you imagine announcing a fight or announcing a signing of fucking July of 2026 and then you don't fight till 2027? Like, what the fuck? Should have just waited to announce that shit. But sit your ass down in the meantime. My boy Trick said, do I like a fight between Diego Pacheco versus Lester, and who do you favor? Stylistically, that's a very intriguing fight, to be honest with you. Diego Pacheco, he boxes very well. Good body shots, decent power, good length, good athleticism. Lester Martinez is a fucking dog, though, man. Aggressive, come forward, lets his hands go. He got some respectable power as well. Diego definitely has some moments to he has the ability to outbox a Lester Martinez. But I do think that his conditioning got to be a little bit better, man. I think he got to use his legs just a little bit more, keep that jab on Lester. He could give Lester some issues. But, when it comes to activity, aggression, combination punches and stuff like that, if he's able to, really get the Diego Pacheco and, really let his hands go, he could break Diego Pacheco down. So that's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. I like that fight. I do think that they both have certain abilities that could definitely make things difficult for each other. I could see Diego putting on a good boxing performance against Lester and, neutralizing his volume. But I could also see a situation where Lester brings Diego into a dogfight, like pretty much how Kevin Sajo did, and outworking him on the inside. So that's a great fucking fight. I would love to see that, but I don't think they'll really take that fight, especially Pacheco and them, if a belt ain't on the line. So I think they both racing to get a belt. And whoever gets the belt first, I'm sure the one who doesn't have the belt is going to call that person out. We say Andretti. Andretti knocks out Pacheco. Who the fuck is Andretti? I'm high. Boxing Wiz said, I got Lester over Pacheco. It's a good pick. Nothing wrong with that. Nathaniel says, I got Pacheco, but that's if Lester can't make it an inside fight. Yeah, so that got to be Diego's main objective, man. He kind of got to do what he did with Emmanuel Alim and just keep him out there with the jab. But this time, because, Emmanuel Alim couldn't defend the jab to save his life, bro. He made zero adjustment for that jab. It was kind of disgusting, to be honest with you. Poor coaching, in my opinion. That's just me. No disrespect, but, like, come on, bro. Like, I could give you a 17-year-old amateur right now that defend the jab better than fucking Emmanuel Alim. That was embarrassing. Yeah, but I know who Boo Boo is. But he said Andretti. I'm like, who the fuck is Andretti? I know Demetrius Andrade. So I don't know if he was talking about Boo Boo. But you said Andrade knocks out Pacheco. Andrade is definitely still a dangerous fighter in the 168-pound division. He's coming back soon. And I just want, what I want to see, man, before Andrade walks away from the game? I want to see him fight Jamal Charlo, man. Like, neither one of y'all world champions. Y'all probably not going to win the world title at 168 pounds. Y'all both up there in age. Y'all got more time behind y'all than y'all got ahead of y'all. You know what I mean? Y'all both came from 154 pounds. Y'all niggas done had history since the 154-pound journey y'all had. Y'all was both world champions. Y'all both two-division world champions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Andre got like one more belt than Jamal Charlo. Like, why not fight? Why not fight? Y'all a good co-main event on a big card. Absolutely. Maybe a main event if y'all play y'all cards right. But great fucking fight. Like, I don't understand why that fight can't be made. Like, I seen Andre press Jamal Charlo in the past, and he was sounding like a duck. Oh, I'm not a matchmaker, bro. I'm not a matchmaker. It's like, nigga, so you don't have a say-so in who you fight, nigga? Are you a slave? So I would love to see him fight. If not, I want to see Demetrius Andrade fight at Caleb Plant. Why not? Why not? It seemed like Caleb Plant already putting some shit together to walk away from the sport. That's what it sounded like to me. You know what I mean? I think he like signed a deal with like this with the same people that Andre Ward is. Damn, what the fuck is that company called, man? Caleb Plant signed a little deal with them. I don't know exactly what he's gonna be doing, but it's not Must Fight. What the hell? What's their name? All the Smoke or whatever the case is. I think All the Smoke, some shit like that. But I feel like Caleb Plant is already setting himself up for when he walk away. He got something to stay busy with. I don't see Caleb Plant winning the world title again. I'm gonna keep it real. I really don't. I think that Resendiz performance, that was terrible, man. That was terrible, bro. He took a lot of punishment in that fight. Shit, you can mix Caleb Plant, Andrade, and Jamal. You mix them up. Either way, however you put it together, is good fights. Caleb Plant versus Jamal. Jamal versus Andrade. Andrade versus Plant. Plant versus fucking all of them, bro. Jamal, Andrade. Like they're all good fights. They're all good fights. Boo Boo versus Plant or Resendiz. That's a great fight too. I think Andrade will beat Armando Resendiz. I think he'll box the shit out of him. Run him into all types of shit. I never heard, and I was critical of Caleb Plant for this because I feel like he really went under the radar for taking some bullshit ass fights. I thought his whole championship reign was bullshit. You know, when he won that fight off Uskadegi, which was a great one, he outboxed the shit out of him. He did what he needed to do. And Caleb Plant got such a great storyline, man. If you ain't see it, go see it, man. It's some heartbreak, a lot of heartbreak, man. Like Caleb Plant done really been through some shit. You feel me? So when he won the world title, I was so happy for him. But them title defenses after the fact, they was trash. Like Fagan boots. Like, who the fuck is that? Mike Lee niggas on a Subway commercial. I'm like, where is you finding these niggas? Then they like, then I don't know who he fought. I don't know if he fought somebody after that. Then he had the Canelo Alvarez shit, and then I guess Canelo Alvarez. Oh yeah, he fought Caleb Truax. I was there. We fought on the undercard. Like terrible. That was like, the fuck is this? This shit is trash. You feel me? Like this shit dookie. Like what the fuck is we doing out here? Then you fight Canelo, and we seen what happened with you and Canelo. Then you took a fight. You got a good win over Anthony Durrell. That's a solid win. That's a former world champ. Then you get packed by, you damn near get stopped by David Benavidez. I mean, we don't gotta go through the whole resume and shit like that. But I'm saying like his championship reign was ass. And I heard Caleb Plant call out a lot of guys like Edgar Berlanga and shit like that. But I never heard him call out Demetrius Andrade's name. And maybe that's an uncomfortable style for Caleb Plant because he's usually the one that's the slick boxer, the outboxer. He's gonna have a tough time doing that with somebody like Andrade, who's explosive, awkward, rangy, fast hands. Andrade got some fast hands, man, and he's intelligent too. Like very athletic. He will give Caleb Plant everything he's looking for. That'll be a tough fight. Beck versus Resendiz. I'm gonna keep it real, Bethaniel. I want to see Resendiz go back down to 160, man. He too small for 68. Like he too small. Like I understood he took the opportunity because it was Caleb Plant and all of that shit. So he took the opportunity, but 68 in his division, man. Munguia bombed on him. Too big, too strong. You know what I mean? Too big, too strong, too active. Resendiz wasn't really like blown out from like the skill set department, but man, like he ain't have like the size nor the strength to get Munguia's respect, man. He hit Munguia with some nasty body shots too, and it looked like they was even hurting Munguia a little bit, but because Jaime Munguia was so much bigger, his punch resistance helped him out a lot. Resendiz is not a super middleweight. Yeah, Munguia bombed on him. Yes, he did. Munguia fucked Resendiz up. I ain't gonna lie. I was upset watching that shit. But Munguia, he popped dirty, right? Yeah, he popped dirty. Yeah, we don't forget that shit. Now you training with Canelo and shit. And you all did tweaking with Canelo and can't be trusted. What did I think of Canelo and Plant looking back? I think Caleb Plant did his best impression of an outboxer. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo Alvarez done seen that approach so many times that he knew exactly how to go about it. And I think that he did his research on Caleb Plant and found out that he didn't have the best gas tank. He didn't have the best conditioning. Caleb Plant's conditioning has haunted him throughout his career. Anybody that's ever watched Caleb Plant closely, he's always struggled with fatigue. I've seen it in the Caleb Truex fight. You know, he was styling on Caleb Truex and then he was fatigued. And one of the key indicators for Caleb Plant, when you know he's fatigued, mouth wide open, pause. You know what I'm saying? And he showed it against Caleb Truex. He looked like he was even in the Jose Euskadigi fight, like he was the better fighter, so he was able to outbox him. But he looked fatigued in the Jose Euskadigi fight, and he started getting touched in the later rounds. It was a few fights that I saw, and you know he could have stopped Caleb Truex if he really stepped on the gas, but he didn't trust his gas tank, so he just coasted to the decision. And I'm like, all right, bro, this dude Caleb Plant could box. He's very talented. He's very sharp, but his gas tank is terrible, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if his lack of training. I don't know what it is. Could be genetics. You know, there's people that train hard. Or maybe they just they burn a lot of energy, you know, in the ring, and they don't really train like that. You know, a lot of people make that mistake. Like they train real relaxed and, you know, real low pace, and then when they're in the ring, they just do the most. They just do the most, and then they fatigue because your body's not accustomed to fighting at that pace. So when you're doing all this relaxed shit and training, and then you're doing all this intense shit in the ring, it's inevitable for you to gas out. So looking back on that Canelo and Plant fight, you know, Canelo stood, you know, he kept that pressure on Caleb. You know, he was punching him on the arms, punching him on the shoulders, punching him on the hips. He was breaking Caleb down as the rounds went on. And, you know, Caleb Plant started to slow down. He started being on the ropes a little bit more. And, you know, he was boxing Canelo. But like I said, it wasn't anything that Canelo hasn't seen. You got to understand, like, Canelo done been in there with some of the best boxers of his era. You know what I'm saying? Like, he fought Floyd Mayweather, y'all, early. He fought Austin Trout, good boxer. Erislan De Lara, good boxer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he been in there with guys who got legitimate skills. Caleb Plant wasn't going to show Canelo nothing he has never seen. Like, he fought Miguel Cotto. He fought Shane Mosley. Like, come on, bro. Older Shane Mosley, older Miguel Cotto, but regardless, they still are who they are. So, you know, and even Andre Ward was telling him, like, when he was training for the fight, he was like, yo, man, just make sure you know, when you shadow box and you sparring, just keep them legs moving. You want to have them legs conditioned for 12 rounds. And, I don't know if Caleb Plant took his advice, but I seen him fatigued and I seen him stop using his legs. Then I'm seeing them body shots pile up. And then Canelo started bringing them shots over to the head. And, you know, Caleb Plant was so fatigued that his punch resistance just deteriorated along with his stamina. And, you know, that's when Canelo was able to hurt him, drop him. He got up. Canelo knew that he had the shit in the bag, so he finished him. And to be fair, to be real, Caleb Plant caught Canelo at a bad time. Like, Canelo was on a generational run at that time. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's when Canelo was motivated. His momentum was crazy. He was confident. He went on a fucking run at 68, bro. Where does it rank amongst Canelo's performances in his career? Canelo got some good performances, man. Like, we gotta look back at 154. At 154, he had some good wins. You know, the Austin Trout win was a good win. Even though controversial, the Erisland Lara fight was a good win. James Kirkland, that was a nasty knockout. One of my favorite performances was that ass whooping he gave to Josecito Lopez. That was a young Canelo Alvarez, but we ain't gotta count that one. The Miguel Cotto win at 160. The second Triple G fight was a good performance in my opinion. The Daniel Jacobs fight was a good performance. Knocking out Sergey Kovalev, that was nasty, even though Kovalev was washed. You know, he definitely caught Kovalev slipping. Man, Canelo got a lot of good performances, man. Canelo got a hell of a resume, bro. He really do. He really does. That was Canelo's last stoppage against Plant. Yeah. Canelo, after he became undisputed, I think shit started to dwindle down for Canelo a little bit. And I really started to notice Canelo's decline in the John Ryder fight. That was the first fight where I'm like, Canelo didn't really look like himself. Looked like he deteriorated a little bit. You feel me? But Caleb Plant ranking amongst Canelo's best performances of his career, for real, that shit might be at the like I like the Billy Joe Saunders knockout. I like that motherfucking pull uppercut broke his orbital. Ooh wee. Yeah, that was a hell of a finish right there, man. I don't even think that was his best finish at 168. I like that Billy Joe Saunders, knockout better. Billy Joe Saunders ain't won all that shit he talked. He ain't won no smoke, one punch, broke his eye. He was like, "No, I'm cool." They stopped the shit. Yeah, man. That shit was crazy because Canelo knew he had him. Like Canelo, he pulled his shot, that uppercut, boom, he felt. And one thing about a fighter, I'm gonna tell y'all, y'all know like how y'all shoot a basketball and y'all can tell off of the release that is going in, or like if y'all ever played baseball and you swung the bat and you could feel the baseball just like you could feel the bat piercing through the baseball. You know the baseball gonna go somewhere. It's the same shit in boxing. You could punch somebody with a clean shot and you could feel, based off of the impact and where you hit that person, how bad it's gonna hurt them. Like the perfect shot, bro. That shit is one of the most beautiful feelings that you could ever feel in the sport of boxing. Like if you land a pinpoint perfect body shot. Canelo knew when he landed that uppercut that shit did damage to Billy Joe. He seen it in Billy Joe's body language. And he literally was getting the crowd. He literally was raising his hands up to the crowd to cheer because he knew he had the shit in the bag. That was a crazy performance, man. That was a crazy performance. Canelo went on a hell of a run at 68. Once he noticed that David Benavidez lost that belt on the scale, he was like, "Oh yeah, let's go on a little side quest real quick." That's what he did. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, I don't think he ever went for undisputed if Benavidez ain't lose that belt, which I think was some bullshit, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was in them bubbles during the pandemic, bro. Everybody was missing weight. I'm trying to tell you, bro, you couldn't train. It was like you were stuck in your hotel room. You couldn't control the heat in the hotel room. And then, bro, they was only giving you an hour gym time. I'm like, what? Because you couldn't be in the gym with nobody except your team. Whoever you were, what they call that shit, quarantining with, that's what you had to train around. Nobody else. They was only giving you an hour gym time, bro. What the fuck you gonna get done in an hour? Hour in itself. What if you shadow box in 12 rounds? That's 36 minutes right there. You got 24 minutes left over. What you gonna do? Run on the treadmill? What about the jump rope? What about the bag work? Like, so when David Benavidez missed weight, I was not surprised. And I ain't gonna lie, that'd probably be the only time I give a motherfucker a pass for missing weight. Because, like, bro, if you're limited to what you could do and you got a certain system that helps you lose that weight and you can't use that system, you in a fucked up position. Not everybody walk around that they fight weight or get or be on weight weeks before the fight. Some people gotta drain themselves down to the day of the weigh-in. But yeah, man, once Canelo peeped this nigga Benavidez, because he knew Benavidez was a problem from the beginning. From the beginning. So once they seen he gave up that title, he was like, oh shit, we could do something here. Because I think Canelo, the perfect weight for Canelo, in my opinion, was 160. Once he went to 160, bro, he had everything clicking. He was fast. He was sharp. He was elusive. You notice when he went up to 168, he stopped being elusive. At 160, he developed more of a higher guard at 168. But at 160, he rolling shots. He pivoting around with the rolls. This motherfucker, he got his hands down and he's slipping straight shots. He rolling underneath hooks. And man, Canelo was nice at 160, bro. He had everything clicking at the same time. I think that was his prime years, 160. To be real, like that Daniel Jacobs performance, bro. Who you know had Daniel Jacobs missing like that, coming back with counters? Man, Canelo had it all going at 160, bro. He was a problem at that time for that division. You know what I'm saying? But I think Canelo, like I was just saying about Stephen Fulton and them, I think they get to a certain point where they feel like they experienced enough to fight at higher weights, and it's more about. I think they get to a certain stage where they sick of sacrificing to make weight. So what they do is, you know, they go to weight classes that they deem to be more comfortable. At 154, Canelo was good at 154, especially in his younger years. But yeah, 154 was a good weight for Canelo too. He had very fast hands. His hand speed was at his peak at 154, especially when he was in his teenage years and his early 20s. But we didn't really see Canelo as elusive at 154. Like at 160, Canelo, like what I was trying to say is Canelo had it all. He had everything put together at 160. You know what I'm saying? He had higher output at 154. That was a fact, but he wasn't as elusive at 154 than he was at 160. You know what I mean? He gave you hand speed. He didn't throw as many punches at 160, but his punches was accurate. They were sharp. Like they were crisp, powerful shots, elusive, good counter punching. Of course, chin. Like Canelo he never had like the best footwork. He was pretty flat-footed, but he made up for it with his upper body movement. And he used to make you miss and make you pay, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, man, I swear if it wasn't for that PED shit, like Canelo probably would have been one of my favorite fighters coming up, bro. That PED shit kind of threw me off. And you know, Canelo made his case, unlike a lot of people, for why he had clenbuterol in his system, and he did a hair follicle test, and you know he passed the hair follicle test and all that. I see Canelo go above and beyond to prove his innocence. But at the end of the day, you know, I gotta hold motherfuckers to the same. I gotta be consistent with everybody when they test. You know what I mean? What was I gonna say though? Bro, I watched that Miguel Cotto fight, and bro, Canelo is a bad motherfucker, bro. Bro, like he had Canelo. There was points where he had Cotto looking like an amateur, and I do think that size played a part. You know, Cotto was never no 160. He really was never a 154, to be honest. His power just carried him to 154. But man, Canelo's his boxing ability was on full display, like his counter punching. Man, he hit Cotto with a slip right hand, and it was just so fucking fast. Boom, boom. And like you could tell that shit threw Cotto off, but Cotto being the veteran he is, it was such a dope competitive ass fight, bro. Man. That was a good ass fight. Cotto was hitting Canelo with some shit, but I think what really set the difference between the two, I seen Cotto hit this nigga Canelo with all his might, and that nigga ain't go nowhere. It's like, what the fuck? I seen Cotto hit this nigga with some flush shit, and Canelo ain't even blink. I'm like, yo, this motherfucker Canelo gotta be like 180 right now. Solid as fuck too. Like, I was like, bro, this nigga was trying to tell you, like, Canelo really got one of the best chins I've ever seen in like boxing, period. This motherfucker was like the thing off where the thing off of? That's Fantastic Four. Like solid like that. Like, damn. Yeah, Cotto did his thing, but Canelo's size, his power, that shit played a difference. And Canelo was real fucking crafty in that fight, man. Bro, I watched this motherfucker. Yo, that pull uppercut with the roll after. This motherfucker seen Cotto throw a jab. He pulled the shit, right? He came back in, shot the uppercut. He knew Cotto was gonna throw the hook to respond to the uppercut. He rolled underneath. Cotto missed the hook completely. I was like, God damn, that shit, bro. That shit was so cold, bro. Canelo was cold, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. That was a cold motherfucker. Hurt Cotto a couple times, but like he respected Cotto enough where it was like, and I don't know if it's because he looked up to Cotto, but like he even let off the gas a little bit and was just like, you know what I mean? Was working with him. But man, he outclassed Cotto. It wasn't just a size thing. He outclassed him from a skill set standpoint too. Cotto was nasty, man. He was different than a lot of these Mexicans. He really was. Not generalizing all Mexicans. I just found out that one of my favorite Mexican fighters is going to be at the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Same Hall of Fame that Miguel Cotto is getting inducted to as well. Hold on. Let me find. I've been trying to meet this motherfucker, bro, but I have not been able to get anywhere near him. He's one of my favorite. Let me Orlando Canizales, man. I had to make sure he was getting inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. He's getting inducted into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. And he's one of my favorite fighters to study, bro. One of my favorite fighters to watch, period. Orlando Canizales. All y'all motherfuckers, Lomachenko. Nah, nigga. Orlando Canizales had them angles. He had them angles down packed, bro. So when y'all see motherfuckers like Bam Rodriguez and Vasil Lomachenko, go watch Orlando Canizales, man. Mexican. You know what I mean? He ain't fight like no typical Mexican. That motherfucker had angles, good combinations, good hand speed. You know what I mean? Do y'all Googles on him, man. Marissa said, no, wait, Lorenzo. He said Cotto was giving Canelo work in that fight too. That fight was pretty good. Canelo was 35. Canelo was 25. It's crazy that Canelo was doing that at 25, but we got to remember he was already a decade into his boxing career. So of course he's gonna be ahead of his time. How many people turning pro at 15? You feel me? So he was already a vet. He was a young vet by then. And already had a pretty solid resume before the Cotto fight. So you know what I mean? Canelo was really an enigma for real when it come to his age and the type of fights he took early on in his career. That is one of Canelo's best performances, absolutely. Yasser Ali says, was Cotto more of a pure boxer or was he a front foot fighter? Trying to know more about him. Cotto was the textbook definition of a boxer puncher, in my opinion. Cotto was somebody that, especially at 140, he was one of them dudes that could step to you and bring the fight and whoop your ass. He was also somebody that, if he felt like you were strong or you was a better come forward fighter than him, he could outbox you. You know what I mean? He could punch in combinations, turn you, be light on his toes, in and out movement and all of that shit. Like Cotto had some athleticism. He had a good bounce, on his feet. Cotto's main issue, in my opinion, was he had some defensive flaws to me, where when he would hold his hands would be open like this a little bit, not like Edwin Rosario, where his hands is like that. But Cotto did have this tendency to open up his elbows a little bit, and I think that's why guys like Zab Judah was able to drop that motherfucking uppercut on him, wang, and get Cotto, all I'm saying, happy feet and all of that. And Cotto been hurt several times early on in his career, but Cotto was somebody who could bring the fight to you. Fight on the inside, bang with you. He was somebody that could take you for a walk and outbox you and run you into a big shot. Cotto was a boxer puncher. He was undersized for those bigger weights, like 154 and 160, but he had the skills to what's that fight that Miguel Cotto had? It was a big Asian boy. He was big and strong than a motherfucker, but he boxed the shit out of him and was just running him into shots and all that. I mean, he did it against Margarito. He was boxed, especially in the second fight, boxing. I think it was It was the boy Kamagat. He fought this big ass Asian dude. He looked big as shit next to Cotto. He had a big knockout ratio. His name was Kamagat. And the dude was pressing Cotto. And Cotto, man, gave him a boxing lesson. Gave him a big boxing lesson. That was a hell of a. So if y'all want to watch Cotto bang, you really want to see him rumble, I mean, you can go watch his fights early on in his career. A hell of a fight that he had was against what the fuck is his name? Ricardo Torres. Ricardo Torres had Cotto knocked out on his feet. Knocked out on his feet, bro. And he had a high knockout ratio too. That boy Ricardo was like 28-0. He was like 28-0 and had like 20, I don't know how many knockouts he had, bro. Motherfucker had crazy power. I think all of his wins was by knockout. For real, for real. I'm about to see. Hold on. Let me see how many knockouts he had. They was both knockout punchers. That's all I know. Let me check. He literally was 28-0 with all knockouts, y'all. He had all knockouts. So that's crazy. But Cotto was out on his feet, man. That fucking power was cooking Cotto. But Cotto found a way to recover, and then he stopped Ricardo Torres. So if y'all want to see a good fight of him, really rumbling, getting in the trenches and getting in the mix, you go watch him versus that Colombian dude. That was a good-ass fight. But if you want to see that nigga box, you can watch that. You can watch him put niggas to sleep, too. Like, he put Daniel Gill to sleep. I remember that was at 160. He knocked Dan. Nah, actually, he stopped. I think Daniel Gill, I forgot what situation that was with that fight. I don't know if Daniel Gill missed weight. I think it was like at 154, but Gill came in heavy, and then he knocked Gill the fuck out. Hey, that nigga slumped on top of the rope and shit. Cotto had some shit, man. Cotto had some shit. You know what I mean? Cotto done had some rough fights, though, man. He had some real rough fights. Him and Shane Mosley was a hell of a fight. I'll be hearing some motherfuckers feeling like Shane beat Cotto. What y'all think? Y'all think Shane Mosley beat Cotto? Cotto's 140 round was super underrated. Hell yeah, bro. He did his thing. He did his thing at 140, bro. He was whooping ass. I might just go back and watch some Cotto. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't watched Cotto in a long time. The Clottey fight, Lorenzo, was a tough John. Cotto versus Shakur at 40. Who you got? Shakur better be on that fucking bicycle. That's all I know. That's all I know, bro. Cotto ain't gonna be going for that shit. See, Teofimo went for Lorenzo. Yo, Core better be on his toes. He better be moving. He better not, nigga. He sit on the ropes like he did with Cepeda. He gonna be in trouble. Yeah, Cotto went and pulled out the championship rounds. Shane Mosley was a problem though. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, y'all. Anybody that want to watch some good footwork from a Mexican fighter, because you know they always disrespect the Mexicans. Oh, you know, Mexicans ain't got no footwork. They flat-footed, bro. There's plenty of Mexican fighters, especially today. They got good footwork. I think Diego Pacheco got some solid footwork when he uses it. Of course, Bam got some of the best angles, if not the best angles in boxing. You know, back then I thought Finito Lopez was smooth on the feet. Motherfucking Orlando Canizales was nasty, man. I'm telling you. I might just go to AC just to meet him. I've been trying to get an interview with the motherfucker. Bro, I be trying to interview these guys, man. They just be so tough. I've been trying to get Najee Lopez on the show. But like, man, it's getting to the point where I'm like, you know what, bro? I'm gonna just fuck with who fuck with me, bro. Shit crazy. Dabrowski MMA said Cotto one of the only modern day legends I've never taped like that. You missing out, brother. Cotto a motherfucking legend, bro. And I don't even fuck with Cotto all like that. You know what I mean? I don't really like about how the way he be moving outside of boxing, but you know, he a real asshole from what I heard. But Cotto a fucking dog, man. I was cracking the fuck up. I remember I was watching the fight footage when he fought Paulie Malignaggi, a prime Paulie too. Not that old washed up Paulie that everybody done beat. I'm talking about like undefeated Paulie Malignaggi, like the Magic Man. You feel me? I was cracking the fuck up, man. I was like, yo, why they do that to Paulie, bro? Who the fuck set Paulie up? I was like, damn, why they do Paulie like that? That's fucked up, man. But man, Cotto whooped that boy like he stole something, dog. Oh my god, that shit was bad. Najee Lopez made you some money on the last Pro Box card. That's what's up. Yeah, Marissa, she drives a great point. She said, in my opinion, Cotto never recovered mentally after the first Margarito fight. He was never the same. He was good, don't get me wrong, but mentally not the same. I mean, those type of, you know, like I said, the way that he took a lot of punishment for one. And you know, for that to be your first loss and for you to go out that way, man, that could be devastating on a fighter. You know what I mean? A fighter's first professional loss could be very traumatizing depending on their mentality. And then when they're, you know, after the fact, you find out that this person got caught with, you know, raps that I'm not gonna say what, you know, illegal raps. You know, you could get all of these thoughts in your head where it's like, damn, like he may have very well have done that to me. You know, I may have fell victim to him as well. And you know, Cotto believes to this day that Margarito cheated against him too. And you know, I always say that there's no like proof that suggests that he did, but you know, it's also not a far gone conclusion. And it may have very well, in my opinion, just been a stylistic thing because when you watch the rematch between Cotto and Margarito, the shit was damn near identical to the first fight. The only difference was Margarito broke his orbital bone. Cotto re-injured the orbital bone that Manny Pacquiao broke against Margarito. And they ultimately derailed Margarito's career, pretty much forced him to retire. That injury was so bad actually that when you look at Margarito today, his face still looks weird from the orbital breaking. Last thing that's one of the most devastating injuries you could get is a broken orbital. Yeah, Kodo, and I think Kodo's who was it that passed away? Was it his uncle that was his trainer that passed away? They said that had an effect on him too. I mean, they said that him losing his uncle who was like his trainer. Was it his father or his uncle? But they were saying that him losing his uncle or whatever the case is had an effect on him too. Or his dad. His dad in 2010 passed away. They said that had an effect on him, and like things happen, bro. You know what I mean? Like those things happen. That shit could definitely take a toll on you too. Kodo went through some shit, so they David. I got that mixed up with David Benavidez. His uncle passed away, and that's what got him. That's what messed him up, and he started started fucking with recreational drugs and stuff like that. He beat up his uncle over a money dispute. Bro, trust me, I know that story. I know that story because I actually know somebody that was a part of Kodo team, and it ain't the story that everybody knows about. If I was to tell you the actual story, you probably look at Kodo different. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, his dad passed away, and that seemed to change a lot with Kodo. Kodo been through some shit, man. You know what I'm saying? The devastating defeats, uh, losses outside of the ring and stuff like that. But Kodo's a successful promoter now. You know what I mean? He got some good talent over on his side, and it seems like he's still. I never heard about Kodo being broke, so he must be doing some good things with his money, and he's getting inducted into the AC Boxing Hall of Fame. So yeah, man, I would actually like. I wouldn't mind meeting Kodo, but just based off of all of the negative things I heard about him, I don't want to deal with the possible scenario of him being an asshole to me, and then I just, I mean, I'm not gonna react well, and I'd rather not go through that type of shit. Let me see. You say you love those. See, SD been around. If you know them 24/7, SD, they don't know. They don't know them 24/7 Johns, man. They I know Lorenzo know about him because Lorenzo, I could tell, was a heavy HBO bull. And I was too. I could tell by how the way Lorenzo just be remembering everything back in the day. He was a heavy HBO bull. I was too, bro. Like I remember sitting on my pop lap being like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. And my dad used to sit there. I used to sit on his lap. He used to watch the fights. And whenever he go crazy, he'll like throw me off of his lap and shit. And he'll like sit me back down when something else crazy happened. I'm off his lap again. Like I remember watching them Jones back in the day. And when I was an upcoming boxer, man, bro, I fucking love Floyd Mayweather, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like Floyd Mayweather's 24/7s. I still watch him to this day just for like the nostalgic feel, man. It was just, I remember one of my favorite moments is when Floyd was at the Pollo Loco out in Vegas and shit. And he had ordered some wings, and he was eating the wings. I mean, these cold ass wings. Man, these niggas just gave me some cold ass wings. I should knock his ass out. Every time I used to see that when I was a young boy, I thought that shit was hilarious. That calling saying Shane Mosley looked like he got out the hot tub time machine because of the motherfucking Jerry curl, talking about his Jerry curl when he was making fun of Cotto for sleeping in the same bed as his homie. That was weird. I ain't gonna lie. He called Cotto Buttman. He called that nigga Miguel Buttman. That shit was crazy. That shit was hilarious, actually. Making fun of Juan Manuel Marquez for drinking his own urine. Sticking the middle fingers up at the UK with Ricky Hatton and them. Bro, I know all of them 24/7s, bro. Even the Floyd Cotto 24/7 was dope, man. Cotto trained his ass off for that fight, man. With Pedro Diaz, he did his thing. He gave Floyd a tough ass fight. I ain't gonna lie. I remember the one time I had scored the fight. I'm like, Cotto might have got 5 rounds against Floyd. I ain't going front. Like, he might have got 5 rounds. They ain't scored that way. But I'm like, yo, there was a few rounds that Cotto might have stole. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I think them judges scored at like 10-2, 9-3. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if it was that much of a blowout. Marquez took a whole cup of piss to the face. He really did. What had me rolling was the nigga drunk the cup, right? In front on the camera, then put the cup down and was like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. I was like, I don't know about that, Miguel. You tripping. I mean, Marquez, you tripping. And mind you, Marquez is one of my favorite fighters all time. Marquez always creep up on my list, bro. Marquez was a fucking dog. I actually wanted to see. I heard they was trying to set up. I'm gonna keep it real. I was around when Marquez and Cotto was supposed to rumble. I would have loved to have seen that, bro. Woo-wee. That would have been a hell of a fucking fight, man. Floyd outclassed the shit out Marquez. He missed weight against Marquez and all. He low-key did Marquez dirty. Because that wasn't Marquez like the lightweight champion. He moved up. And Floyd was trying to fight him at a catch weight, and then Floyd missed the weight, so he had to pay Marquez extra. Yeah, man, Marquez was a dog. I seen Marquez smack the shit off that canvas, get up, never been stopped, fight his ass off, bro. My favorite, did I ever see Marquez or Cotto live? No, I haven't, unfortunately. But let me find that one fight for y'all, man. Who was it that Juan Manuel beat the shit out of? Was it Pedro Diaz? What the fuck was his name? I always fuck his name up. David Diaz. Was it David Diaz? Man, he beat the shit out of him. That's one of my favorite ass whoopings, bro. Oh my God. Let me check. Juan Diaz. I'm sorry. Did I say his name right? I probably didn't. It was the first time they rumbled, man. Man, he whooped his ass. Yes, he did. Man, he beat the fuck out of him. Bro, Marquez gave us some real life bangers, bro. We don't see that shit like this anymore, man. They did. I ain't gonna lie. They did Marquez dirty a few of them motherfucking Pacquiao fights too. They was just trying. They was not trying to give Marquez any fucking win against Pacquiao. Like he had to earn that shit. Like mind you, this how good Marquez was. This nigga got dropped against Pacquiao 3 times in the first round, rallied back and got a draw. Like, come on, bro. So that technically means that if the nigga ain't never get dropped, if he ain't never get dropped in the fucking those 3 times, he'd have won the fucking fight. And it was a split draw because even one of the judges had him winning. Bro, one of the judges had him winning 115, 110. So they only gave outside of the fucking they only gave Pacquiao 2 rounds outside of 115, 110. So if he got it 118, 110. I don't know. I ain't even about to do the math right now. But shit, that's like 10-2 right there. But anyways, Marquez is the man, bro. He really was. I was watching one of his old joints. He got dropped hard as shit. He got up and beat the shit out of dude. I think it was the Michael Casitas. Yeah, it was that John. He fought this Australian bull. Boy dropped him hard as shit with a nasty, nasty shot. And Marquez head bounced. I don't even know how the fuck he got up. I think, like, from what I remember, that nigga head bounced off the canvas. I'm like, no way. This nigga got up. This nigga got up like nothing happened and proceeded to beat the fuck out of this nigga. I'm like, yo, he's a dog. dog. Like, y'all understand how difficult that is to do. Like, you got to really be cut from a certain cloth to do that, man. Like, no regular dude doing that. Niggas get dropped and fold. Like, Marquez was a fucking dog, bro. I respect that nigga a lot more than a motherfucker who just nowadays, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Niggas like Marquez make these young niggas today look soft as shit. And I hate to sound like one of them old niggas, like, man, you know, these young niggas, they soft, man. They not like the men back in the days. But goddamn, they not. You got some exceptions. You know what I'm saying? You got some niggas who really cut like that, like Bud, cut like that. You know what I mean? Even Canelo, he cut like that. You know, he ducking niggas and shit. But like, whenever it was time for him to, you know what I mean, he stepped. You feel me? It's you know, a few exceptions to the rule, to be real. Some of these young niggas is making the OGs proud. But, bro, Pacquiao, I ain't gonna lie. What Pac? He definitely lost. Pacquiao definitely lost that fucking what was that, man? I thought Pacquiao lost the fight before he got put to sleep too. I thought Marquez was really beating him, man. I forgot which one it was though. Them niggas don't rumble like 1,000,001 times. So it was the draw. So they fought each other. That was the first one to draw. Then you had Pacquiao beating him by split. Then you had Pacquiao beating him by majority decision. I think it was the third one where I was like, man, Marquez won that shit. Yeah, they fought 4 times. It was the third one where I was like, bro, I remember watching that shit. I'm like, did Marquez just fucking win? And then I thought they robbed him, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, damn. Jim Lampley was spazzing out when he got dropped. Bro, Jim used to leave Earth. Yo, that nigga Jim Lampley used to leave Earth whenever some shit happened, bro. He used to be tweaking. I remember when Nassim Hamed fought Marco Antonio Barrera, and he said some wild shit. And George Foreman was like, man, you gotta chill, like you wilding. He said some shit about Allah or something. I'm like, yo, Jim Lampley gotta relax, bro. I ain't gonna lie though, SD. Like Marquez also had like a different mentality going into that 4th fight, bro. You know what I mean? In my opinion, it looked like Marquez was on them power pellets. That's what it looked like to me. You know, motherfucker had hella acne on his back and all that. To me, you know, I'm not gonna say definitively, I can't prove it, but Marquez looked like he was on that juicy juice. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna definitively say that because that's defamation. I would never do that to my guy. But Marquez looked like he was on them power pellets. I ain't gonna lie. Then like them punches had a different effect on Pacquiao. Like he dropped Pacquiao hard as shit in that fight too. Then he put him to sleep with that one punch. I was like, damn. I'm like, that shit kind of look a little out of character for Marquez, but you know what I mean? We gonna let it rock. He didn't get that nigga a rematch neither. He's like, man, fuck this nigga, man. How many times you want a rematch? Yo, that nigga, what fight was that? What was it? Pacquiao was punching on somebody. He was like, bang, bang, bang. He cutting everybody off. Bang, bang. I was like, yo, this nigga Jim Lampley tweaking. He ain't give a fuck, bro. He was comfortable. Oh, yeah, it was the Cloudy John. Yo, Jim used to be tweaking. I'm cracking the fuck up. Bang, bang. Man, Roy Jones used to have me rolling too. He's not getting up, Jim. He's not getting up. I was like, damn. Bro, I remember exactly where I was at when Pacquiao got slept by Marquez too. I was at my aunt Rosa crib, a block away from where I used to live and shit. And bro, I was the only motherfucker in there that liked Floyd. And because I was such a big Floyd fan, I couldn't stand Pacquiao. Because at that time, it was such a huge fight, or it was just such a huge topic in the boxing world, you had to pick one. You feel me? So it was like, nigga, it's either you fuck with Floyd or you fuck with Pacquiao. Fuck all that unbiased shit. You gotta pick one. So I was with the money team all day. Like Floyd was my guy. So I'm watching Pacquiao fight Marquez, and I fucked with Marquez. So I'm like, man, I hope Marquez fuck this nigga up, right? I ain't never think that shit was gonna happen like that. I don't think anybody expected that for real. But when I seen Pacquiao get dropped, I'm like, oh shit. But then Pacquiao started putting together a nice little comeback and shit. Like he started, putting it together and all that. I seen Marquez measuring. I seen him measuring on the back foot. I seen him measuring, but I didn't know what was coming. Boom! Right hand down the pipe. This nigga take his head off the center line, put all his weight behind that joint. This nigga Pacquiao fall face first, booty in the air. Bro, and I tell you, the whole fucking crib just shut off, bro. Everybody eyes was dead ass open. They all looking at each other, but they not saying shit. I was like, yes. I was like, man, fuck this nigga. I was like, thank fucking God I was in that bitch. Y'all think he better than Floyd? You got me fucked up. Bro, I was fucking going off. But then I stopped. I'm like, yo, this nigga Pacquiao ain't moving. Man, everybody was going for Pacquiao except me. I used to go at it with my whole family about Floyd, bro. I used to tell every man, Pacquiao ain't being no fucking Floyd. You crazy? Man, Pacquiao gonna fuck Floyd up, man. Floyd ain't got no power. Man, I remember all that shit. I'm like, bro, he gonna box the shit out Pacquiao, man. You crazy? I said, ain't nobody beating Floyd, bro. I was one of them. Man, when that nigga got put to sleep, I was the only one snapping. I'm like, talk that shit now. Talk that shit now. Bro, everybody in that joint, I was the only one yelling. Bro, but then I stopped. I'm like, yo, this nigga, I did like a whole celebration. I looked over, Pacquiao still ain't moving. I'm like, whoa. All right, this shit not even like cool no more. Like, what the fuck going on? But then when I seen this motherfucker, yo, Pacquiao was out. You want to know how I know he was out? Because when he woke up, you ever seen like a nigga get off anesthesia? I've been under anesthesia before, so I know how that shit feel. You ever seen like niggas' eyes like when they coming off anesthesia? That's exactly how Pacquiao looked. I was like, damn, that nigga looked like that motherfucker looked like he just got from under the knife. Like that nigga looked like he just finished up a surgery or something. He just woke up from a surgery. Like, damn, hit that nigga with some anesthesia. Oh, wait. Bro, I was in there talking shit. I remember I ran outside, bro, because that was such a big fight for the hood, bro. My whole hood is Regan, so we all watch boxing. Remember I went outside, the neighbors next door came out all shouting and shit. I'm like, yeah, niggas, y'all niggas. Man, I told y'all that nigga Pacquiao bum. Come back in the crib, everybody's still like, bro, what the fuck, bro? Look back, this nigga still on the canvas. I'm celebrating again. I run back out, running all up and down the crib, come back, this nigga still there. I'm like, all right, bro, this shit not funny no more. Yeah, bro. That nigga Pacquiao woke up, eyes red. Nigga's eyes was bloodshot. Like, huh? That shit was crazy. The fact that Pacquiao came back from that shit and still did some crazy shit after, Pacquiao was fucking dog too. And this coming from a nigga who couldn't stand Pacquiao. Pacquiao was a dog. I think he was on I think he was fucking with them little pellets too, but I mean that's just an opinion. And then I don't know for a fact. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and show love as always. If y'all can go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated. I'll be back at y'all with another live 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world, man. Until then, I hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.